Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines, where in the last episode we built this cruise ship terminal and it has been doing pretty well. The harbor has been getting a lot of passengers every week. We also added our ferry depot here, a ferry stop, second cruise terminal, some hotels, a train station of course, lots of parking, and all in all it looks pretty nice. It is connected to the rest of the city via the train station, of course, but there are also bus lines going from here to Central Station. Also, last episode, I don't know if I included this in the edit because I had some audio issues last time recording, but I also created this little theme park, which is a little bit empty looking still. I had a look around the workshop, but there aren't that many theme park assets that we can add to this theme park. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this part a nature reserve, and I'm going to add some vacation homes and some campgrounds, maybe some chalets or something, where people can stay the night if they're visiting the theme park. Maybe a hotel or two along the highway. We also expanded the city again a little bit. We filled in this little island in the middle over here, but doing all that, unfortunately, our weekly income has been going down, down, and down. Last episode, I started pretty optimistic with saying that it gets in the greens pretty often, and it doesn't go back down in the reds that much anymore. But adding the harbor, which is 1,600 a week, and the cruise terminal, which is 1,280 a week, and this is almost 1,000 a week, and this is a couple hundred a week, and we added a fire helicopter depot, which is 1,400 a week. We added waste transfer facilities, 2 of them, which is 240 a week. So this ended up costing us a whole lot of money again. So now our weekly income, I haven't seen it go above minus 10,000, I think, and it hovers around minus 15,000, but it drops as low sometimes as minus 35,000. So we have to start doing something about that, and one thing that we can do about that is adding more and more citizens, but I'm not going to do that today. I did start this theme park in the hopes that it would earn us a little bit of money, and it does, but it's not a whole lot. As you can see, the expenses are 1,800, income is 2,600, so we're making about 800 a week from this, which is better than nothing, of course. But in this episode, one thing I want to address is I want to change our power sources. So we have this nuclear power plant, which I plopped down a couple of episodes ago because we were getting low, but this one is 8,000 a week. So we can save a couple grand per week by just replacing this one. And we are going to do that in this episode. And the location we're going to do that is over here. So here is our main island. Here is where the tourism industry will be and the beaches. And this part over here, this lighter green, I have painted in with oil. So this is now all 100% oil. And this is going to be the cargo harbor. I added a nice little high capacity, hopefully highway entrance and exit as an entrance into what will be a major industrial area. I also added a toll booth in the hopes of earning a little bit of more money from the trucks passing in and out. So as you can see, a nice big interchange where traffic can get off and on the highway without four-way intersections and without traffic getting in the way of each other. So hopefully this is a nice high-capacity highway interchange. And in this episode we are going to add a new power station over here, and it's going to be in this corner right alongside the highway exit. This is going to all be oil industry, as I said, but even though it's going to be oil industry, our power stations are going to be, I think we're going to use the solar updraft towers. I do like the looks of the nuclear power plant, but I'm gonna not turn it on anymore. We have some solar panels which we can use if we really want to. Also, I really like this natural gas power plant, but it's also 5,000 a week, so it wouldn't really change anything, but I think it'll look nice. especially if this area is going to be filled with, you know, oil storage and oil pumps and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we're going to plop down a few solar updraft towers, enable one of them, and that will be the main power source. And for the rest, geothermal, maybe some nuclear power. And of course, we're going to detail a little bit around it. So it looks like a nice big power plant. With parking and some offices around it where staff can work, stuff like that. So let's get to it. Alright, and here we have it. The first part for our cargo harbor and big industrial area that's going to be here. As you can see, I put down 2 of these solar updraft towers because I really like these towers, the way they look, the red and the white, and they're really high. You can see it from miles away, and it's really obvious that they are power stations. I turned off one. The other one is functioning. It only costs 2,200 a week instead of the 8,000 a week that we were spending with the nuclear power plant. It still produces plenty of electricity. We are now at 426 megawatts while we only need 259. So no issues there. I also added some geothermal power plants, which I turned off. So we have plenty of room to upgrade because we already put down these, and there is even plenty of room on this side to add more geothermal power plants or even another nuclear power station if we should really need it. Then I also added the waste processing complex on this side. Unfortunately, that costs 5,400 a week as well. So getting rid of the nuclear power plant and adding one of these and one of these is almost a zero gain. So yeah, not much improvement in our weekly costs, even though we are now hovering between the minus 5,000 and minus 10,000 instead of minus 15 to minus 35,000. I also added another waste transfer facility for when this area is getting built out, so we can pick up the garbage over here. I added a few office buildings, and I added even a few normal industrial buildings. Plenty of parking, obviously. A little container yard that I created over here. I added some storage as well, which I turned off because they all cost money. I added another post office distribution center, which I kept on because it's only 400 a week. And of course, a couple of services like police headquarters and fire station. So since this is going to be our cargo harbor over here, I think the next thing we need to do is make sure that we have a railroad coming down here. And the nearest train tracks are over here. So I'm thinking maybe we can add a junction over here that bends off over the river, gets across the highway, or beneath the highway because the highway is still raised at this point, and then down here, and then maybe ends in a nice train yard over here with the cargo harbor over here that has the built-in train station. So that is going to be the next project. So let's see what we can do about that. right, and here we are with our new train yard. We have lots of transfer tracks. Have a little maintenance shed over here for trains to drive into and get serviced. Some cranes in case we need to, unload some more containers. We have a nice little container yard over here with some truck props, which are all facing the wrong way, I'm noticing just now. Should be like that, so that the trucks can drive under it. Excellent. Yeah, so a nice little container yard. I put down some office buildings over here, but they keep complaining about too few services. They are level 3. So it will be a while before they stop being abandoned, as is tradition in this city. Same goes for over here. These industry buildings, they keep getting abandoned because they don't have any workers, I believe. I am tempted to just start the oil industry over here and put down some, some of these oil extractors, drilling rigs, maybe some storage. We are at minus 50,000 at the moment. I put down the cargo hub just to see how the rail should go. But I decided to keep it on because there's a good amount of traffic going from and to it. And there's lots of trains coming through it. There's ships coming through it. So I'm pretty sure it makes more money than the 2,400 it costs every week. These are all just props. They're not doing anything. They don't cost anything. I added a little passenger train station for the people who work here. Then they can commute in from the city. Nice big parking lot, of course. And I made a tunnel underneath the highway. Some stones on the sides. Looking very nice, even if I do say so myself. Then it goes over here across the river and then branches out left and right. And of course, by branching right, it can go anywhere in the city. As I said, I am tempted to just start the oil industry over here. I know we have too few people. We have huge residential demand. We have, in this farm, there is already way too few workers. We have 250 workers here and 967 jobs. So, yeah, especially uneducated people is something we need. But I am tempted to just start it and hope for the best. Hope that it adds a little bit more money, because this farm, even though there are a lot of jobs left and it costs us about 2,400 a week, it still has profit of about 7,000. I think I'm gonna try it and see how far we can get with it. I'm not gonna make a huge oil industry like I did with the farm. I think I'm gonna just add one row of oil rigs and then maybe some processing plants, because I also want to add a few of the unique factories. We have this one, for instance, is plastic and petroleum, so I think we can place this one down once we have oil industry going. We can already put bakery down, which I don't want to do in this area because it only uses natural products, farm products. So we should be able to put it down over here somewhere eventually. But yeah, I want to add some of these. I think that'll look pretty awesome. I also want to add some of these factories. Naphtha cracker, I think, would look pretty nice over here. That is going to be our next project. We are going to put down an industry area, and this entire part of the island is going to be industry. Excellent. And then, of course, we need a main building. And the main building is going to be on this side of the road over here, I think. Now, let's put it over here. That's a nice spot for it. And then, while we are at it, we can add the maintenance building on the other side. Maybe scooch it over a little bit so it's next to the road. Excellent. And now we have our oil industry. Very, very nice. So let me add a few drills and some other buildings, and I'll be right back. Alright, and here it is, the first part of our oil industry. Now, I'm not sure how much you saw from the time lapse, but I had some issues with the oil resources. As soon as I put down one of the oil factories, one of the pumps, the minute I put it down, it drained all the oil in the ground and it started complaining about not enough resources. Even though I had the unlimited oil and ore mod enabled, which comes with the game by default. But since I also have game anarchy installed, this one also has an option for how fast the oil and ore deplete, but they don't work well together. Even if you have the other one turned on, and even if you have this on unlimited, within seconds, all the oil is gone from the ground. So you have to turn off the one that comes with the game. And then you can use these sliders to set it to, whatever value you want. I want it on unlimited. I don't want to have to worry about it. So now we have some oil pumps and some drilling rigs. We also have a few petrochemical plants and a few oil sludge plants, which means we are creating petroleum and we are creating plastics, which meant that I could put down the household plastic factory, which needs petroleum and plastic, and we are creating plastic products. And this factory alone is making us 2,000 a week, and the entire oil industry is making us, at the moment, around 15,000 weekly profit, which is nice. Also, we have 405 workers over here, which is almost twice as much as in the farm, even though this is as far away from the farm, as far away from residential areas as you could possibly get on this map. So yeah, apparently there was some need for a little bit more industry. People just didn't want to work on the farm. I also added a few of the barracks over here next to the main building. I turned the waste transfer facility on because garbage was piling up. I also turned on one of these warehouse yards for unique factory products, which is what we are creating over here. Other than that, yeah, these buildings are still getting abandoned every time I turn around. Same goes for these. I also added, by the way, these very cool warehouses, these ones over here. They are container storage warehouses, and the fuller the storage gets, the more containers show up. So yeah, it's a nice little dynamic thing to have in our oil industry. Some of these buildings are complaining about not enough raw materials, but we have, I don't know how many pumps. We are not importing anything anymore. We are completely producing our own oil. And yeah, at the moment we are making almost 20 grand a week, which is nice, even though we are still at minus 30,000 for our general income. Hopefully with this added oil industry, that will get a lot less or a lot more, hopefully. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, you have too few workers. I know. So yeah, that is looking nicely. And even though the goal for this episode was to start earning a little bit more money, we added 20,000 a week. We are still at minus 40, minus 30. So it's not really picking up a whole lot. But what I am going to do off screen or off episode, because I think you've seen it enough by now. What I'm going to do off episode is I'm going to finish this little village, and I think I will finish it all the way up to here. So this whole side of the river will be Sheffield Heights up until the amusement park. Maybe I'll have some bigger houses over here, and then I'm also going to fill in a lot of this with residential high-rises south of this main road. Yeah, basically make the connection from the cruise terminal all the way up to Central Station. I'm gonna fill that one in completely, and hopefully the added amount of residential and citizens will push that 40,000, that negative 40,000, a little bit closer to the greens. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to include that as a time lapse as I've done with all the other areas. But if I don't include it in the main video, you can always find it on my Patreon. I do all the time lapses that don't make it into the main videos. I will post them as separate behind the scene kind of looks on my Patreon. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description, and then you can see every single little detail that I'm building, even if it doesn't make the main video. So, also one thing I wanted to do is I'm going to turn off this terminal because it isn't used anyway. All cruise ships enter the normal harbor. Not sure if the asset is broken or if it's because this one is just closer. Turning that off saves us another grand a week. What's going on over here? Why do we have so much traffic? Is it because of the trains? Probably. Now that we have cargo trains on the network. Yeah, I'm guessing these don't open a whole lot anymore. And once they do open, it isn't long enough for this traffic to get out. Yeah. So what we need to do over here is we need to remove the level crossing. So that trains can continue and cars can continue without waiting for the trains. Now that doesn't look too nice, of course. Well, it looks like a level crossing, but it isn't a functional level crossing. So I think I'm going to leave it like that for now, just to let the traffic flow. We'll come back later to this to make this a tunnel for the cars. And a bridge for the train. Yeah, if I'm looking at it here, the train already comes down a lot. So if we keep it level with the bridge over here, then we don't need to drop the road a whole lot. Might need to change the station a little bit, but yeah, that's something for a later episode. Right now, we're going to fill in the residential in the districts, and I will see you when we are done with that.